What I am seeing in our world, not what we see on TV necessarily, although it's getting better, that these men are there with their partners. They're really excited about the children that they're going to have or the children that they have, and they're really deeply involved. So I think there's this idea that there's this absent Black father who doesn't really care, not really there. And maybe that happens for some here and there, but I don't believe that's the general group. I have seen Black men in lockstep with their partners, excited, and the way they can be supportive is by helping a woman, especially in her birth and just right after, where they can be there and really be supportive. When a woman has her partner right there with her, I think it can really give her the ability to release and drop into the birth that she needs to have.
Oh my goodness, it is time for me to go back into the barbershop. I need some refreshing, I need some recharging, I need to reflect on a few things. Are you ready to join me in the barbershop? So welcome to this new edition of Real Talk at the Barbershop, where we keep it real, y'all. We keep it real. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure to be speaking with the one, the fabulous Tonya Lewis Lee. Oh my goodness, I don't know if I can handle this. Miss Tanya, welcome to the barbershop.
Thank you for having me,
I'm
Tony.
so happy that you're
Oh my
here.
gosh, I'm so honored to be here with you.
No, the honor is all mine. And I am so excited to be able to talk with you, the philanthropist, the activist, the author, the producer, the filmmaker, and what else?
Entrepreneur.
The entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Isn't it enough? No,
Mom,
it's not, is it?
Wife, a friend.
Look at that.
You know, all those things.
I love it. I love it. So glad to be spending a little time with you, and so glad that you joined us here in the barbershop to just have some real talk.
Yeah, me too.
You know, you're doing some really amazing work. But before we get into the work that you're doing, let's talk about you.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about you. For all those who out here who I don't know who you could be, but for those who don't know who you are, who are you?
Who am I? Who is Tonya Lewis Lee?
Yes.
I am a Black woman. I am the daughter of George and Lillian Lewis, who are both from Virginia, who met in college at Hampton University, got married, and decided to leave their roots and go to New York and blaze the corporate trails. My father was an executive at a corporation, and we moved around a lot growing up, so I grew up in lots of different places. And I have a sister who is fantastic. Shout out to Tracy. I am a lawyer by trade. I am now, as you mentioned, a filmmaker, a producer, a director. I'm a writer, and I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a woman who also really takes health and wellness really seriously, and we can get into that in a bit, but I've had my own personal journey with health and wellness, figuring out how to take care of my body, my spirit, and my mind, and at the same time have found myself in a place where I really advocate for that for all of us, because it's one of those things that we're not really taught in school. It's not something that people are really taught, how to really take care of your body, mind, and spirit. And so I think, my role is to try to help people understand what that is.
Well, I have to tell you, I have been a huge fan of yours for a very long time.
You're so kind.
And when I think of the many pieces and projects that you have been involved in that oftentimes people don't realize that you've been involved in and forget, she's gotta have it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, changed my life.
The reverb, right? So
That's
Spike
right.
did the original himself, and then we brought it back to Netflix.
And I love that.
Yeah.
It is so well done.
Thank you.
So well done.
So proud
the
of that.
original, amazing. But what you've been involved in, tremendous.
Yeah.
And then when I think about The Watsons Go to Birmingham, oh, such a beautiful film.
Yeah, beautiful. Directed by
Really?
Kenny Leon. We shot it right here in Atlanta,
Isn't
Georgia.
that something?
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah, thank you.
And then Baby Please Baby.
Yeah, our children's books.
I love it. You know, I'm a collector of
Oh,
children's books.
love that.
And I just love that book. I love the artistry in
Yeah.
it,
Kadir
the
Nelson.
illustration. Kadir,
He
oh
did
my
a
goodness.
beautiful job illustrating that book.
Beautiful job,
Yeah,
beautiful job.
yeah.
So you know,
I've been
you-
at it a little
you-
while
you
in
do a
my
little something
in my
out there.
way.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, look, I'm a creative person. I love it, and I want to do that work to make the world a
Yeah.
better place.
So let's talk about your work. You mentioned it a little while back about your interest in maternal health and your advocacy work in this space. Let's delve into that a little bit. What drove you to this work? You know, and let's take it from there.
Sure. Well, it really started from my children's books. So
Okay.
after my children's books came out, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services reached out to me and asked me to be a spokesperson for an infant mortality awareness raising program here in the United States. I didn't know that the United States had an issue with infant mortality. I thought of that as something that happened in other countries that didn't
right.
have resources. But the U.S., in fact, has an infant mortality issue, and there is a disparity and inequity where Black babies die at higher rates than white babies, very similar to the statistics in terms of maternal health. And the first year of that program, I took a tour of the country, really, and got a chance to learn, really more than anything, about infant mortality. And what I discovered is that when you talk about an infant's health, you're really talking about a woman's health. And that women here in the United States are not doing as well as they should be doing, considering this is the United States of America. And was immersed in the world of people who were trying to improve outcomes for women and for infants, because a woman's health, an infant's health, that marks the health of a nation.
Yeah.
You know, and the United States should be the #1 best place for health outcomes for all of us, and we're not there. And so that started and sparked my what is now going to be a lifelong commitment to trying to improve outcomes so that we're all healthy, feeling good, and serving our purpose.
It's obvious that you fully understand the importance of this, but I often wonder whether or not all of us kind of understand it. You know, because often we think it's a woman's issue, it's their problem, it's them versus us, when the reality is it's all of our problem.
Well, and I would argue, and no matter who you are, you come through a womb to get here, right? And when a woman is well, mentally, spiritually, and physically, that means her offspring are well. It means her partner is well, right? And therefore, it transcends into the community as well. And we have a better, healthier nation.
Right.
So when you make sure that the womb is well, then everything else comes from there.
You know, it's so interesting, and you brought to light for me part of a conversation that I recently had. I met a gentleman by the name of Charles Johnson, who is leading for Cure for Moms. And one of the things that he said that really rocked my world, he said, mothers are the framework of this world. And you have just illustrated that, right? That when you protect the womb, the framework of this world, it is everything.
It's everything.
Right?
I mean, and men are stronger and better when women are stronger and better. It just goes hand in hand.
Yeah. You know, we're here in the barbershop. Yeah. And oftentimes, you know, when we're in the barbershop, the folk are having all kind of very interesting conversations.
I can get a trim up myself.
See, right? You know, we get a little trim up, we talk a little trash, you know. But in this barbershop, we're gonna really keep it real and talk about some more serious matters. And of course, we've already gone down this highway. We're starting to talk about, you know, maternal health. But let's talk about the role that men should be playing in maternal health, because we don't ever have that kind of conversation.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting because what I've seen, and you know, I co-directed and co-produced the film Aftershock, which really covers the U.S. maternal mortality crisis, and we happen to follow two men who lost their partners to maternal mortality, and so they're the ones left taking care of the kids. And there are other men in the film, and you mentioned Charles Johnson as well, and what I am seeing in our world, not what we see on TV necessarily, although it's getting better, that these men, these black men, are there with their partners. They're really excited about the children that they're going to have or the children that they have, and they're really deeply involved. So I think there's been this mythology, at least from my perspective, because I have a lot of wonderful men around me too, always have my entire life, but there's this idea that there's this absent black father who doesn't really care, not really there. And maybe that happens for some here and there, but I don't believe that's the general group. I have seen black men in lockstep with their partners, excited, and the way they can be supportive is by helping a woman's, especially in her birth and just right after, because postpartum is when a lot of issues may arise, where they can be there and really be supportive. They can be advocates. And just generally just right in the mix. I mean, when a woman has her partner right there with her, I think it can really give her the ability to release and drop into the birth that she needs to have.
Wow. You mentioned Aftershock, your newest project. Talk to us a little bit about Aftershock and what led to the development and creation of this project and how the journey has been. Would love to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, Aftershock, we were talking earlier about being called to some things, right? And I really do feel that I have been called into this space of advocacy around better outcomes for infants and mothers. And so, as I mentioned, I had been traveling the country with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services talking about infant health and women's health. And inevitably, I would hear stories of women dying. Someone would tell me about a sister, a friend, a neighbor who had passed away from childbirth complications. And in 2018, I think it was, Linda Villarosa wrote an explosive article for the New York Times about the U.S. maternal mortality crisis. And I had made a film about the infant mortality issue. And I thought, I want to make a film that really sort of captures what's happening to raise awareness, because I think often we hear the numbers or the statistics and people don't fully appreciate the human cost and impact. And so wanted to tell this story through people's lived experience and at the same time, find out some information about why this is happening historically, where we've come from, and what the solutions are. And it's been an amazing journey. I've met some incredible people. The people in the film are incredible, from those that have lost to those that actually birthed on camera in the film. Beautiful birth we captured, to the doctors and midwives who talk to us about what the solutions are, right? And so that's been fantastic. And the film has been really well received.
It really has.
Beyond what I could imagine. We've won several awards, and it's being used by hospitals and med schools and colleges and community to have a conversation about how do we make it better for all of us.
Is there a moment, or are there moments that have been the most impactful to you in this journey?
Well, what I will say, most impactful to me personally, I will say, has been meeting Shawnee Benton Gibson and Amari Maynard. Amari was Shamani Gibson's partner. Shamani passed away in October of 2019. Shawnee is Shamani's mother. And then Bruce McIntyre, who's the partner of Amber Rose Isaac, who passed away in April of 2020. And these people, they let us in very early in their grief. Because what they wanted to do is they wanted to show the world what happens, what's left behind. I see the love that they have for Shamani and for Amber. I see the love that Shamani and Amber had for them. And they are inspired and empowered to go out there and really make change based on the loss that they had. And it's, you see, I get emotional even thinking about it, because they're amazing people, and now they are dear friends of mine, and I'm sorry that it happened the way it did, but I'm grateful that they were able to come into my life in the way that they did.
What are you hoping that we leave with from this film? What are you hoping that happens as a result of all of us who go and view this film?
I hope that after people see Aftershock, they come away with a sense of, we can fix this problem. This is a solvable problem. This is not something that we can't do anything about. Like, everybody has a role to play. And I hope people come away with the idea of like, okay, so now how do I plug in to try to improve really the way we birth in this country? And how do we make it better? I will tell you, for me, my challenge now is to think about how do we turn the conversation around in birthing where we talk about how exciting it is. I don't want people to be afraid, right? I want people to be excited that for those that choose to birth, like it's a rite of passage. It's a sacred time, you know, and we need to be connected to our bodies and have the opportunity to birth in the way that we really want to birth. But we need our communities to have policies and options for us to be able to actually access the way we want to be birthing. And it's, you know, these days, it gets complicated, more and more complicated every day. Just when you think things have been like figured out, there's another wrinkle thrown into the mix. So we've got a lot of work to do, and there's a lot of fight for us to do. But I believe that we can get there. I remain optimistic.
We can get there, but it takes a little bit of work from every one of us.
Absolutely.
So with that in mind, how can we learn more? What are the, you know, where are the resources that we should go to learn more about maternal health and the role that we should all be playing in this journey?
Well, I really appreciate that question. I'm on the board of March of Dimes. March of Dimes is an organization that's been out there fighting for infants and mothers, and you know they're specifically now focused. We're focused on the inequities out there and the health gap, making the world a better place for all moms and babies. So they can check out March of Dimes. We do a maternal health desert report every year, and lots of information is there. The folks, like I mentioned in my film, Shawnee and Amari have an organization called the Aria Foundation. You should check them out. Bruce has an organization called Save a Rose. They're working on bringing a birthing center to the Bronx in New York. They're still working on that, and I believe they're going to get there. I would say check out what's happening in your local area. What are the policies in your area for birthing centers and birthing, doulas, midwives? Educate yourself. The information's out there, and figure out where you plug in.
I love it. That's really awesome. So we have our fresh cuts. We looking good. We feeling good. We're going to walk out the door. Before we do, what's the charge that you give us? As we walk out this door, what should each and every one of us do? What's the call to action?
What I would say is this: you can't take care of anybody until you take care of yourself. So my call to action to everybody is to really work on taking care of yourself mentally, spiritually, and physically. You can't get to the physical unless the mental isn't right. You can't really get the mental right if the spiritual isn't. So it's work. It is work. But it's worth it. So take care of yourself first, and then you can take care of everybody else.
We're going to do that. I'm going to take care of myself. I know you taking care of yourself. We're going to do this thing right. Before we leave, how do we keep in contact with you and all of the information that's out here? What are the best resources? Is there a website that we should look at? Any online, individuals, organizations that we should try to follow?
Well, I've got a few things.
You do?
I do. Well, so we haven't talked about I have a organic vitamin supplement company called Movita Organics, and we have a blog. So if you go to movitaorganics.com, you can find our blog, and we have lots of great information there. As I mentioned, March of Dimes is another great place for information. But for me, also, I've got my Instagram, which is Tonya Lewis Lee, and my LinkedIn. Same thing, Tonya Lewis Lee. And you can also go on the AftershockDocumentary.com website. And there you can find some more information on all of these issues.
I love it. I love it. Well, you've convinced me to do some work on myself and to also be an advocate for maternal health. I'm going to get out here and do my thing as I walk out this barbershop.
All right.
And I'm going to make you proud.
I know you. Well, you already make me proud.
Oh, thank you so very much. So, y'all, is my cut fresh? Did we keep it real up in here? Yes, we did. And I want to thank you all so very, very much for being here with us. Tanya, thank you so very, very much for taking the time and spending time with us. It's been a real great conversation. And I know for myself that I'm definitely better now that I'm leaving the barbershop than when I came in. And that's what it's all about. And so for all of you all, I hope that it's the same, that you all are leaving this conversation better than when you came in, that you're leaving refreshed, revived, that we gave you something to reflect on, and now we want you to get out here and do something, okay? And for me, so you heard Tanya's call to action. Now here's mine. Please like. Please, more important than that, share this information with someone you think could benefit from this. So by all means, forward this information on, because this is too valuable of information to be kept right here. Want to get your comments. Tell me what you thought about this conversation. Is there something that we missed? Is there something that you disagree with? The only way that we will get better at this is if you engage and let us know what you're thinking. And last but not least, hook a brother up, subscribe. We would love to be able to share more information with you. But in all seriousness, more than anything, this is about people leaving better than when they came in. So more than anything, I'm asking, please share this information with others, because this is the only way that we're gonna really see real change, the kinds of changes that we need to see. Thank you very, very much, and we will see you next time in the barbershop.